It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan. This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. I'm Joe Castello, and we have got the winners from the AAA Insurance Midwest Nationals Race 2 of the NHRA Countdown to the Championships, the playoffs. We've got Billy Torrance. We have got Sean Langdon. We've got Erica Enders. We have got Karen Stouffer. And, of course, Alan Reinhart just seconds away to start us all off. It's going to be a great week here on WFO Radio Podcast. We ask you to subscribe, write a review, and be on board for the entire week of shows. It's going to be great. We'll have an ignition show and all kinds of good stories going on out there in St. Louis, Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. We have got the winners. They're all coming up in the feed, but first, got to tell you about the people who make it all possible, like samtech.edu. You know there's going to be a Factory Stock podcast with Dave Kramer. It's going to be great, talking about a first-time winner out there in the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown. Drew Skillman gets closer to that championship. In fact, it's all but over. But more importantly, I love talking about samtech.edu. We had Chris Vang on Factory Stock podcast. He is a graduate from Samtech, goes out there, wins the race. So cool. They've got block programs, head programs, CNC programs, motorsport EFI programs. Go to samtech.edu and you can end up working on a race team. More importantly, you can end up with a job that you're going to love for the rest of your life. Talking about Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com, Marvin Rodak and his hot sauces and spice rubs. Those are great. It's a great gift for the holidays, but also pound of coffee roasted fresh per your order. They've got the Funny Car Chaos Limited Reserve. It is great, great body, hints of sweet chocolate nuts, and the brightness of muted berries, and the nurtured finesse of a long, smoky burnout with a lingering clutch dust feel. Obviously, that is a little bit hyperbole going on. But the bottom line is it makes a great espresso. It's called Funny Car Chaos. There's all kinds of blends that are drag racing themed from Marvin Rodak's coffeeandgrills.com. Go to the website, rodaxcoffeeandgrills.com, and check them out, or you can just give them a call, 817-924-6821. There's Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Frank and Lana Hawley, some of our longest supporters here on WFO. We've been talking about the Dragster Adventure for a long, long time, and the program is getting better and better. They have got more dates this month. Auto Club Dragway out there in California. How many seats remaining? Oh, no, 0 seats remaining. Sold out. Sorry, you missed it. 2020, Gainesville, Baytown, Tucson, Auto Club Dragway, Summit Motorsports Park, and they make a great gift. 130 in the quarter mile, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. You can get licensed. You can go to Supercomp School. You can learn to drive a top alcohol funny car. But really, the Dragster Adventure is just a fun day at the track, and they travel around the country. They're coming somewhere near you. Give them a call, 866-480-7223. That is Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Matt Hartford going to the final round. Oh, yes. If you have got an engine and you need piston rings, they definitely make it, regardless of what it is, because they can custom make anything, whether it be a nitro burning engine, a stock eliminator engine, pro stock engine, pro mod engine, or otherwise. And Total Seal is known as the best in the business. They've also got a whole host of great tools. Go to TotalSeal.com to find out more information. And we're actually going to be creating some very informative pieces for Total Seal. And big thanks to Total Seal for coming on board with WFO. And MagicDryUS.com. Magic Dry, the official organic absorbent of the NHRA. It's made of coconut. It soaks up more, 560% of its weight any viscosity. It's lightweight to travel, and it's organic. What is better than that? It was great to see Scott Palmer back out at the racetrack. MagicDryUS.com. Check them out. We've got EV3 drag racing for your mobile device and Drag Racing Edge magazine, all on board with WFO Radio. And now let's get started. Joining us now, he is the voice of the NHRA, and he called the action out there in St. Louis at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the AAA Insurance Midwest Nationals. Alan Reinhart is back. AR, welcome back.
Hey, Joe, great to be back. Man, what an event out there in Madison, huh?
I felt like it was great. I had a great time. It's only my third time to the St. Louis area / track, and each time I go there, I have a great time. It's one of the more fun races on the tour. Everybody is having a good time. The crowd is energized and into it, and it's a party crowd, and they love their racing.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And I also, my gold standard for judging races, if that was the first time a fan had come to watch NHRA, if he didn't like it, don't come back. Because I thought it was a very entertaining race. We had, some great competition, some crazy runs, some certainly, highlight reel moments, and even a couple of surprise winners by the time it was all over with. So I think it was a home run all the way around. We had a sellout crowd on Saturday. Didn't quite make that on Sunday, but that's very difficult to do in the NFL time of the year. But I'll take it. Curtis Francois, the track owner, was very happy with everything overall, and Chris Blair, who general manager of the place, another great event for him and his staff. 3 days of good weather and 3 days of great racing.
Less than 2 miles away, as the crow flies, the Cards and the Cubs were playing Sunday baseball. I feel like our Sunday crowd was good enough, especially with the Saturday crowd as a sellout, like for the fourth year in a row, as you mentioned. And, people, you've triggered me, Alan, because I noticed some Facebook posts like, I saw empty seats. Not everybody sits in their seat the whole time, people. People do tend to go and move around and stand at the fence and go down to the top end. You're not obligated to sit in your seat the whole time.
Well, I saw the same thing, not on Facebook, but on some of the chat rooms that I check out from time to time. It was like, I was there and there was at least 25% of the seats were empty. Like, how many people were standing at the fence? Well, they were 10 deep, but that doesn't count. Okay, yeah, have it your way. You're right. The place was empty because they were 10 deep at the fence instead of sitting in the grandstands. But the standard is a really simple one, and it's not something that NHRA made up. It is industry standard. Whether you're talking baseball, football, NASCAR, us, anybody. You have X number of seats. If you have sold X number of tickets, that's a sellout. It's simple math, and we certainly did. And it also varies venue to venue because, again, it's the number of seats per venue. If you'd have taken the St. Louis crowd to Chicago, it would not have been a sellout. Chicago has a lot more seats than St. Louis does, but that's not part of the equation. NASCAR went through this just a couple of weeks ago, and the Darlington has 47,000 seats. And Darlington was a sellout for their throwback weekend that they've become, that's become NASCAR tradition now over Labor Day weekend. And then the next week they went to Indianapolis, and they sold 68,000 seats, 68,000 tickets in a stadium that holds 230,000 people. And everybody, the place was empty. It's like, well, I don't know about you, but if my choice is to sell 47,000 tickets or sell 68,000 tickets, I'll take the 68,000 tickets. It's just it's a difference of where you put them. Baseball parks are exactly the same way. Football stadiums are exactly the same way. Some are larger than others. But the bottom line is a really simple one. If you have this many seats and you sell this many spectator tickets, you're sold out. And that's what we did.
Excellent. No, and I loved it. And again, I had many positive interactions with fans that were having a good time and, loving the playoffs known as the countdown. All right, let's get into some of the results. All kinds of good stuff happened over the course of the weekend. But I think the top line is that the Empire strikes back. Capco goes from first round out race 1 to an all Capco final round in race 2 with Billy coming out on top and winning the race. Steve, runner-up, Mike Salinas and Leah, the other two semifinalists, setting up, capping off a fantastic day of racing.
Yeah, they definitely look good. And, I spoke to Bobby Lagana in, I guess it was Sunday morning. And I said, man, looks like you flipped a switch. And he said, no, I said, we just, he said, we missed it last week. It's plain and simple. read this and read it wrong, and both cars were wrong, and you saw what happened in Reading. We said, but nobody over there was ever panicked. Nobody over there was ever, like, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. They just, give us another chance at it, and we'll come back and we'll come back strong. And they certainly did. Mike Salinas had a great car. You mentioned Leah being in the semis. There were some others that ran well, but Capco carried the day, and the third father-son top fuel final in NHRA history, and this one went to Dad.
Very, very cool. And this week on WFO, we're scheduled to hear from Billy. And what's interesting about Billy, and I want your take on this, is when he first started to come out and run top fuel, always like a very nice, positive guy. And when you're just kind of, talking, willing to cut up and have fun. But, the on-mic stuff, on-camera stuff was a little tight, right? But now, he's been down this road a few times, and he's realizing, I think, it's fun. Like in the media center, Alan, I don't know how he was on stage with you, but in the media center, he was throwing shots and having fun and enjoying the moment and reveling in the victory, all the things that I think you would tell someone they should do if they're going to become a fan favorite. And Billy is doing it.
Yeah, he's getting more comfortable in it, and I think you hit it right on the head. It's like anything else. The first day of school, you're a little nervous. By the second week of school, it's fun again. And coming out, a guy with his background that has not spent a lot of time in the spotlight. He's never been the guy that was out there making the speeches in front of the crowds or standing on the stage or doing any of that kind of thing. And it just took him a little time to find a comfort zone, I think. But yeah, it was a lot of fun on stage. I have needled him a few times in the past about, the fact of the matter being that whatever happens at the racetrack, Steve and Mama Kay are on the plane going home that night because Steve has to be in the office the next morning. Well, when he wins races, he's been known to show up at the office a little bit late, and let's just say not completely bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and focused on business, if you catch my drift.
Yes.
And I actually asked Billy, I said, I get the feeling you needed to beat him because you need him to be on point at work tomorrow morning. And he kind of laughed about that. And he said, Steve's in the office every Monday. And I said, is he sharp every Monday? And he said, he's in the office every Monday. And, of course, everybody laughed. And you're right. He certainly seems to be, having more fun with the moment and getting more comfortable with being the guy on stage. And I think that's good because he's a wonderful guy with a great story to tell.
So Steve and Billy, assuming, they both have championship hopes, which I know that they do, their championship hopes continue to live thanks to this race. Another first round out by Billy, I think, would have been curtains for any championship hope. Steve would have still continued to have hope, but they're still alive. But it's just interesting to watch, right? Like you're up, you're down. Brittany Force was up, first round out, all of a sudden. Now, by no means is her championship over, but she's back into the middle of the pack. Now, fourth overall, 48 out of the lead. That's not a lot by any stretch of the imagination. The whole top 10 is only separated by 107. But this is a hard thing going through the countdown.
Well, and the whole thing is the 10. If I'm 107 points behind you, I just need you to go out one round, go out first round one time and let me go to the final, and all of a sudden, man, I'm in striking distance. But 9 guys aren't going to go out first round if I'm sitting 10th, 107 back. So being able to make up ground on somebody is not the same as being able to make up ground on everybody. And that's why it's important to hang around up there near the top 5. I think if you're in the top 5 right now, you're still pretty realistic. I'm not saying if you're 6 through 10 that you're out, but you better show me something in the next week or two.
You gotta start getting after it. I saw Brittany on the starting line, and I want this to come out the right way. She looked gutted, and to me, that shows how much she cares about what's going on and the opportunity that is out there to make the most of it with this team. She got a fast car. Yes, she lost. Tough race. Dakin goes 50 on her and, outran her a little bit, stunned her a little bit, and it looked it. But that's what you want out of these athletes, these characters that are battling it out, that they care. And I could tell, oh, man, she was furious or just very disappointed.
Well, I think disappointed, or she wouldn't have been furious at somebody. It's just more of at the situation.
In general, just annoying.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything that she did. She hit the gas, the car dropped the hole. I think everybody in the stadium understood But, the reason that we come up there and run the races, because everybody in the stadium understands that there are times when somebody is overmatched. And Pat Dakin is very upfront about the fact that he's not trying to go out there and set the world record. He's trying to go out there and make good, clean runs, go down the racetrack, enjoy driving his top fuel car without blowing up a bunch of stuff, putting himself out of business or spending, more money than he has to do it. He's going to go out there, try to make clean runs, and just enjoy driving the car. And if his win light comes on, great. But he's not the guy who's out there pushing to go as quick and as fast as he can every time and set the world record every time. He just wants to drive the car and enjoy it. Brittany's team, obviously in championship mode, they are out there pushing it. They're trying to be fast. They're trying to race not just for the win, but for lane choice next round. And they're leaning on it. And it dropped a cylinder. It's as simple as that. And Pat did what Pat does. He makes his nice, clean, solid run. And since Brittany's car was down over 1,000 horsepower, he got the win. And, it's Nitro. Sometimes these things happen. And the amazing thing, one of the amazing things with the run that Steve went on last year was that he got away with all of those things. If he had a drop cylinder, the other guy had a drop cylinder. If he smoked the tires, the other guy smoked the tires. And he had a tremendous car when he needed it. He had good fortune when he needed it, and that's why he won 6 in a row. Brittany right now has got a really good car. I don't believe she'd trade with anybody. They just got a bad break this weekend, and you know what? Take your one mulligan and come back in Charlotte and be ready to race.
There you go. A couple drivers of note in Top Fuel that I just feel like, wow, man. TJ Zizzo, I know you made a point several times on the mic for those of our listeners who were watching on NHRA.tv. Just brutal, man. The guy goes 056, 376.9, one of the quicker runs of first round. See you later. You're going up against Austin Prock, 047, 374. So he got beat on both ends, and just brutal to see how everything else played out. That's drag racing, but ouch. I want to see TJ out there more so the numerology can start working in his favor. A part-time driver, this seems to happen to him a lot, like coming out on the short end of very close races.
Well, there's two things I think that come to mind. One, nobody's going up there taking him lightly. You got to go up there and make a good run. And Austin Prock is amazing on the starting line. Combination of, he is a driver, and they've got his car reacting very well also, and he just is best in class right now. So if you're going up there and you want to beat Austin Prock, your car better be 4 faster than his, because he's almost guaranteed to get 1 or 2 on the starting line, no matter who's driving the car on the other line.
Pretty much. Point standings, Doug Coletta continues to lead by 2 over Steve, 41 over Mike Salinas, 48 over Brittany Force, 62 over Leah, Antron 73 back, tied with Richie, Austin 79 back, Billy 80 back, and then there's Clay 107 back. It was reported to us, I did not speak with Clay, but Rob Wendland told us on the starting line, Clay had a loss in the family. His mom passed away, and that was just a tough first round out. Our thoughts going out to Clay on a tough weekend. But point standings wise, they are all right on top of each other with 4 to go. Anything can happen. A couple of timely first round outs from the guys at the top. Someone like an Austin Prock who's 8th. You never know what could happen. Very exciting stuff.
Well, like I said, if somebody I think from 6 on back wants to be considered legitimate title contender, in my mind, they need to go deep into the rounds at the next 2 races, because you might get a break with one guy going out, but can you envision a scenario where Steve, Doug, Mike, and Brittany all go out first round, and now all of a sudden the number 6 guy can move all the way up?
No.
That's just not going to happen.
No.
So you've got to make a move right now, because you can't expect everybody to falter. If there's one guy out there, he could falter and you could catch him, but you can't be banking on the fact that 4 or 5 people are all going to falter at the same time, especially when you're talking about people that are good enough to be in the position that they're in right now.
Funny car, all Coletta, final round, J.R. Todd, Sean Langdon. Sean Langdon comes out on top. And very interesting day in that JR's co-crew chief, John Oberhofer, said first round after the big win against Jack Beckman. That set the tone for the day. JR was 0-5 against Beckman going into that race. That was our marquee matchup. And JR got the best of him on a hole shot. Came down to a couple of foul, just an epic, great race, and then was able to go to the final round. So they made up some ground. Beckman goes from winning to out first round, which was tough. John Force was able to, second round, got some points. Caps got some points. But Matt Hagan tough start to the countdown. That was one of the cars that we thought, would be in the mix, and now kind of at the bottom of the points queue after getting beaten by Jim Campbell in a tough race. Tommy Johnson having a tough start to the countdown. Meanwhile, Langdon goes through TJ, goes through Campbell on that unbelievable, I don't know what we call that, but rally back race where he got back into it after spinning the tires in the first foot of the track. Takes down Bob Tasca in a very close race, and then bests JR as they both, had to lift a little bit on the top end. So great day for Sean Langdon and the Global Electronic Technology team, and a big shuffle in the points.
Yeah, it was a good day for Coletta Motorsports. When you look at the fact that in Reading we had an all Coletta Top Fuel final, and then in Madison we had the all Coletta Funny Car final. But the old, the races you win are one thing. The races you have the opportunity to win are the next thing. When both JR and Sean won first round on a hole shot, you look at the fact that it's very possible they could have both had the awning down before 1 o'clock, and yet they ended up in the final round because of the way the numbers fell. They came out on the right side of a couple of really good races, and Sean saving them in the second round when the thing smoked the tires, and against anybody other than Jim Campbell, he probably wins that race. And just dumb luck. I saw Jim at the airport. He said the belt came off his car, why they couldn't get back after it. And he said he was, trying to Fred Flintstone his way to the finish line. But he said when my car quit, I could hear him, and I knew I was in trouble. But there was nothing I could do about it. So, just one of those things. They got away with two of them. Then they made a great run against Tasca. And then, in the final round, sometimes the old classic, right? When it's your day, sometimes things just go your way. So they had a good car when they needed it. They had good fortune when they needed it. But they front half that car. Since Reading, they weren't happy with the way the chassis was reacting, took it back to the shop and put a new front half on it, came back and got a few extra runs in to get comfortable with it, and I think that's big.
Very, very big. Robert Height goes to the semis. JR, tough day getting to the final round. 3 in a row for Coletta Motorsports. Elin passed it along to me that the last time it happened a couple years back, but it was Doug, right? 3 in a row, Doug. This is Doug, Richie, Sean. Just showing how strong that organization is now across the board. They've changed it from they didn't want to have a strong organization in the past, but they have put a lot of effort in, and across the board, Coletta Motorsports looking good.
Well, except for JR, obviously. He's not holding up his end of the bargain. Didn't you just say 3 consecutive wins? Doug, Richie, Sean? Come on.
Maybe JR is next, right? JR is going to win the next one. It'll be 4 in a row.
It better be. Otherwise, Sean was talking about asking for a raise. JR's going to be looking for a job the way he's going.
Wow.
That's a joke, by the way.
Ouch.
Don't write me a letter.
I think it was obvious. It was obvious. But I know they wanted to win. It was a win for Coletta Motorsports. But then, the two Nomex Effects hosts had to battle each other, and Langdon comes out on top. Any other notes coming out of Funny Car? Tasca got a good car. I caught up with Bob on Sunday night, and he was, the whole team was annoyed, but feel good about the car that they've got. And they are, right in the middle of the points. Height leads, John's 13 back, Beckman 24 back, Cap's 44 back. So that's like 2 rounds of racing. JR 53 back, Tasca 79 back, Langdon 80 back, Tommy 97 back, Hagan 103 back, and Wilkerson 126 back. Massive explosion for Wilkerson. But, Bob Tasca still in the hunt, as is JR. But like you said, same deal. Got to go now. Got to get some points.
I think so, yeah. I think the biggest surprise in the countdown for me so far has been Tommy Johnson. He had such a good car during the first part of the season. He's never been in a position as strong as he was going into the countdown. That team has always finished strong. You just look at his last 5 years. He's been, second twice and third once, and then I think the lowest he finished was 5th or 6th. But coming in, with some momentum and a high seat in the countdown, I really expected them to be kind of hitting their stride, and they stubbed their toe a little bit. So, can they rebound? Well, we'll find out in Charlotte, I guess. But that to me has been as big a surprise as anything that, that just hasn't been going their way. And it's not like they forgot how to race. It's not like their car's been slow. They just hadn't gone their way.
Exactly. Very, very challenging situation. We're working on getting Sean Langdon on the show. Going to talk to the Global Electronic Technology driver about going to the final round and winning the final round. His first 2-wide win in Funny Car. Now he has scored it. And what was that crazy stat? Him and Selzy to win in Top Fuel and Funny Car at Gateway. That's pretty good company.
Yep, not bad at all.
Gary Selzy, very, very cool. Next up, Pro Stock, the win that we were all waiting on, and it finally came, right? We were wondering, like, man, is this going to happen? It's definitely going to happen. It's going to happen this week. It's going to happen next week. And it finally happened. Erica Enders, from the number 1 spot, goes on to victory over Matt Hartford with a 6:59.8. And it's been over a year. That's insanity. But Erica breaks through at just the right time.
She had the best car literally all weekend. They got 9 little qualifying points. They believe she actually said that she's the one that screwed up, or they would have had 12. But they had the best car. And it's kind of interesting because I spoke with Jason Line about it when he was my morning guest for pre-race, and we chit-chatted, and it's like, what is it? What's the thing? And he's like, man, everybody in Pro Stock is wishing they could put their finger on it. Because, you're working hard, and then all of a sudden, Brainerd, for whatever reason, his car was magic. It ran great in Brainerd, it ran great at Indy, it ran great at Reading. And then we come in here, and not like Erica's been lost, but she looked like she was in her own separate league coming in here. Qualified number 1, 3 of the 4 sessions she was low. On Friday night, the classic show-off session, and on Saturday morning both, she gets bumped back, and then click, bang, okay, look, Erica's back on top again, just waiting for her run so she can show everybody. And Sunday she had the car to beat and was not to be denied.
Yes, and the Indy loss, right, which you've mentioned, I've mentioned, everybody knows it. I'm sure she brings it up. It's not for the best. That's definitely not the way to say it. But that focused this team, and they are running on a next level desire that is it's beyond. We want to win. They got something to prove, and I think you can see it. The way Rick Jones is talking, the way Ricky Jones is talking, the way Richard is talking, the way Erica is talking, they all are really, really fired up and aggressive to win these races and win this countdown. And now having broken through, who knows what's possible?
Well, there's so many really good cars out there right now. I said Erica certainly had the best car on the property last weekend. Matt Hartford's got a really good car. The Summit cars can be really good. There's so many guys out there that have the power to win right now. It's just going to be a matter of, who the magic touch lands on when we get to Charlotte, and who the magic touch lands on when we get to Dallas, because there's some really, really good race cars out there right now. And, Erica, if it comes down to the driver, there's a lot of people going to be putting money on Erica, because there haven't been a whole lot, if any, better than her over the years when the pressure's on about getting the clutch out on time and getting the car down the racetrack. So that's probably advantage elite.
Yes, definitely. And, some big races coming up. Pro Stock, it's been pretty crazy. The way, the past, let's call it, 3-4 years of the class. But right now, the level of competition, top to bottom, is just so good. You've got Erica. Erica goes up against Aaron Stanfield, our marquee matchup, right? Stanfield gets the best of Alex Laughlin. She beats Aaron in a very close race. Chris McGahey takes down Greg Anderson, which was, I think, a little bit of a shock. Bo Butner beats Jed Coughlin. That's always a coin flip. And then Matt Hartford beats Jason Line and goes to the final round. 003 against Erica. It's just, like you said, the magic, who gets the call of fate on any given weekend, because there are so many good quality cars.
Yeah, and I think the part of it it's forcing more mistakes. Matt Hartford and I were on the same flight home, and we talked about it on the plane a little bit. And he said, 2 years ago, there's no way that he beats Jason Line on that run, because Jason 2 years ago wouldn't be pressing to go up there and try to beat Matt Hartford. I mean, he just didn't have a car that was a legitimate threat with the front of the class, and he knows that. But now you can't go up there soft. And when Jason dropped the clutch and the thing blew the tires off of it, because he knows who he's up against. He knows we've got to make a good run. We've got to do everything right. And the thing with Pro Stock cars that isn't so visible from the outside, but the difference between pressing and not pressing is like the difference between running 656 and 658. You're not slowing it down a tenth and a half to be safe. You're slowing it down a couple of hundredths to be safe. And 2 years ago, if you were racing Matt Hartford, you could go up there and go, okay, we can slow, let's go on the conservative side. We'll get this round, and then we'll figure out what we got to do next round. But you can't do that anymore, and that's forcing a few more mistakes up there. And I think that's why we're seeing some of the good teams, shaking the tires or shutting off or having issues because they know that they have to press. And it really is a big, big step in pro stock when you're trying to go an extra couple of hundredths of a second faster.
Jason Line, the points leader. Eric Enders, second, 11 points back. Bo Butner, third, 22 back. Matt Hartford, fourth, 57 back. So in the mix, but three very tough racers ahead of Hartford if he's going to pull off the Cinderella Story Championship like Bo did a couple of years ago. Laughlin, 83 back. Jed Coughlin, 94 back. Greg Anderson, 107 back. Then you got Derek Kramer, Chris McGahey, and Val Smeal, and Derek, 122 back, and everybody much worse than that. So I'm a little surprised about Greg Anderson's countdown so far. He's, I don't want to count Greg Anderson out, but that's going to be a really tough drive. Greg Anderson were to go on and win the championship, Alan, it would be a spectacular story.
Agreed. But, you go back again, and it's almost like whose turn is it to have the perfect car? Greg, beginning of the season, wasn't great, and he will tell you exactly the same thing. Went to Denver, and wow, poof, we're great. Okay, well, it's Denver. It's kind of an anomaly. I don't know if you can really count that. Go to Seattle. Poof, we're great. Or go to Sonoma. They're great there. They won the race. Go to Seattle. They're great. They get to the final. He loses the final on a little hole shot, but he's got a great car. Goes to Brainerd, and it's like, what happened to the guy with the red car that used to be great? I mean, he's still there. He's still running okay, but he was so good for three in a row, and then you get to the next race, and it's like, what happened? What happened was that was Jason's turn to be great. And if anybody could ever put their finger on exactly what that little piece of magic is, be great for a long time. But I haven't found anybody that can do that, at least not recently. No, and that's what makes pro stock great, because you don't know who's going to be great on any given weekend. The way the cars are now with the power, like Chris McGahey had a really good weekend. Kind of, I don't want to say he came out of nowhere. We know Chris has got good power, but he said flat out he sucks at qualifying. Yeah. Come race, which was fun. Come race day, huge hole shot against Derek Kramer, takes out low ET of the round. That happened in Funny Car also. Just, it shows people are getting up on the wheel. Also, Kenny Delco has got a good car running McGahey power. So it's just, the timing of the moment, which makes it interesting. There is definitely a lot of that, but it's fun to watch. Yes. And Pro Stock Motorcycle, Karen Stouffer, perfect example and a perfect segue. Been since, 2015 since Karen Stouffer? And she, talk about getting up on the wheel. Karen Stouffer has always been known as a great, reaction time driver, but would occasionally go red, right? In a big moment, would occasionally go red. Earlier this year, that race where she had like double O average, amazing stuff, came up short. This time, she did it. She left first on Andrew Hines and outran Andrew Hines and took the win. So it's back-to-back wins or 3 wins in a row, actually, for White Alligator Racing. But this time it was Karen Stouffer. Yeah, how many fantasy league players do you think had Karen Stouffer for the win? Oh, I did. Did you? Oh, yeah, definitely. No, of course not. I didn't, and just because, what you said, it's been quite a while. Jerry's won the last couple of races. He's had a pretty good bike, and Karen, while hasn't been bad, but certainly hasn't looked like, okay, we're ready for the big breakthrough week. But with Jerry going out early, and Kalungi and focusing all of his efforts on her bike and the job that she did riding it, it all came together, and voila, another win for Karen Stouffer. You said it'd been quite a while, but she certainly didn't forget how to do it. And looking at the way it all worked out, the Harley guys both going to the semis, Steve Johnson, that is a great story in that, he took a couple of races off and regrouped. And I think that was a good lesson to everybody out there. You want to show up to the races and you want to be there and scrape and scrap it through and all that. But sometimes it's better to just stay at the shop, work it out, figure it out, buy those new parts, save a little money, and come back out. Because what Steve Johnson is doing leads me to believe he's going to end up having a race win at some point. And it could have been right here. He was 065 against Andrew in the semis. If he was not 065, he could have gone to the final round against Karen. We just don't know. Well, Alan Johnson told me a long, long time ago that all of the real racing is done in the shop. If you're not prepared by the time the truck rolls out of the shop, you ain't going to get it fixed at the racetrack. You've got to be prepared. And, Steve took the time and went home and got everything prepared. I think it's also very interesting that it's kind of proving the point that Matt Smith brought up earlier in the year that Steve lit him up for, and a couple of the other guys did too, that, look, just because the Suzukis aren't running good right this minute doesn't mean that they're not capable. They just haven't found it yet. And, Steve obviously found something. Jerry obviously found something. It's not like there was a big rule change. It's not like, but all of a sudden, the Suzukis are right in the middle of the mix. And, even Jerry Savoie said the same thing. He said, we're not running to our potential. And, basically agreed with Matt. So it looks right now like, there's definitely a lot of parity in the class, like anybody can win. I thought it was cool that Karen and Erica shared the winner's circle. Never in history of NHRA have the two pro stock winners both been female at the same race. But Erica and Karen have won the same race back in 2004 when Erica won her first ever race in Super Gas. Karen Stoker won that day as well, and they kind of relived that moment up on the starting line stage. It was kind of a neat deal.
Yes, and, not that it's not pro, but Brina Frank, formerly Brina Splinger, won stock. So, stock, all lady racers.
I hadn't even thought of that. Who won Super Stock and ruined it all?
Yeah, I know. I'll go check. What are you doing to us, man? You're ruining the stat, brother. You're ruining the stat. Let's see. It was Justin Jenkins.
Yeah, good old Justin. Leave it to Justin to ruin everything.
Right. Every one of the stock classes won by a lady racer. Let me tell you, that would be a tremendous stat, and it could happen at any time. But, just because it just goes to show, like stock, super stock, pro stock motorcycle, are really hardcore classes, right? Where, if you're winning those, you're a drag racer before you are anything else.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. At point standings, Andrew Hines leads the way over Karen, who is now second. 34 out. Eddie Krawick, 51 out. Matt Smith, 61 out. Jerry goes from first to fifth, Alan. Crazy.
Yeah, Mom said it'd be days like that.
Hector Arana Jr., 97. Angel, 130. Angie, 150. Ryan Ayler, 191. Hector, 200 points back already. So that makes you appreciate what's going on in the Nitro ranks, where everybody is pretty close. We already got a pro stock bike that's 200 out of the lead, just like that. So, maybe a little less parity in pro stock motorcycle, but it was a great weekend. Other winners, we had other winners in categories. We had David Billingsley in Comp Eliminator, Justin Jenkins, Super Stock. I mentioned Brina and Stock Eliminator. Chris Dodd getting a second win, Super Comp Jegs All-Star winner. Mark Buttram, Super Gas. I loved it. He goes, man, I'm a bracket racer, man. I don't ever do this. This is my third time doing this. I don't even know what to do. He goes, but I came out here and he won. I go, I have a feeling you're going to do this more. Mark McDonald with that great tribute to Diane O'Neill. Ricky Smith, Pro Mod over Stevie Fast. Factory Stock Showdown, David Kramer. We're going to speak with David on Factory Stock Podcast. That was pretty cool. First win for KB Power in Factory Stock Showdown in its current form. And Dom Garcia winning the high school challenge.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend. It was, David Kramer winning was kind of a cool story. When you look at the Stanfields in one lane and the KB guys in the other lane for the Factory Stock Showdown, gives you an idea, how serious they are about that. And that was a fun race. Brina was certainly on. She's really good. I mean, there was, she came one round from Dublin and Brainerd a couple of years ago where she won one and run it up in the other. And she can drive, stockers, super gassers. You put her in one and she's going to do well for you. So good day for her. All things considered, it was just a good, fun day of racing. We had old cars and new cars and, Final Four and Super Gas without a Corvette Roadster in the group. And it was just a good, fun day of racing. That's
so funny that you, the Corvette Roadsters. You're right. That is true. That is so true. And championships not quite officially decided in Samtech Factory Stock Showdown and E3 Sparkplugs Pro Modified, but really leaning in a direction. Drew Skillman has all but got it locked up with the final race coming up in Dallas. And E3 Sparkplugs, they got a couple races remaining, but Stevie Fast has got a 156-point lead over Todd Tutterow. And, it's possible, but Stevie is running really well. Car is going straight as a string down the racetrack. So it is championship season in the NHRA. We're getting close.
Yeah, Drew, they can, call the engraver and have him put his name on the trophy. we can't officially proclaim it yet because it's not a mathematic lock, but the only person that could possibly catch him is his dad. And his dad has said that he's not going to Dallas because he's got something on his calendar that's been there for over a year before the Factory Stock Showdown schedule came out. So, congratulations to Drew. He's going to be making that speech. And I'm with you, Stevie, unless he forgets where the racetrack is, I think that he's sitting pretty in the pro modified deal. So definitely it's been a fun year to watch that. Of course, the nitrous car is certainly resurgent now after the rules change in the pro mods. So it's going to be a definite battle down to the wire for the last couple of pro mod races, just for who's going to be the individual race winners.
And one final thought before we let you go, Alan. It was announced today that two-time U.S. Nationals winner Corey McClenathan, 34 victories, going to run the final 3 races of the year, Dallas, Vegas, Pomona, and then retire from active driving. And I know that, Corey Mack was, a very successful racer who had brushes with championships, and he won Indy twice. He's got a lot of great stats. He shares a birthday with me. Maybe that is the greatest stat of his whole career. I don't know. But gonna hang up the helmet officially, which drag racers rarely do, right? They always kind of leave the door open. He's going to spend 3 races out there with the fans, kind of saying goodbye, and then retire.
Well, the first time I saw Corey Mack racing, he was racing a Volkswagen. So he and I go back quite a ways. And then was there, through his alcohol career, before he jumped into the top fuel ranks and all the success he had. It's going to be a little bit bittersweet. It'll be great to see him come out there and if nothing else, get the chance to say goodbye to the fans, especially since he's a California boy, being able to go out to Vegas and then go out to Pomona and make that the swan song. I think that's pretty cool. It's going to be good to catch up with him a little bit when he's back out there on the road. And I'm sure that we'll see him from time to time at the races, even though apparently he won't be putting the helmet on anymore.
Well, exactly. The idea of retirement for a drag racer, when you get the Greek out there, right? It's like, well, maybe I shouldn't say this because you never know how you're going to feel a year or two from now. But we know that, you can retire and then unretire. The only way you get to unretire is to first retire. And so it's good for Corey. And we're going to try to get him on WFO here real soon. Alan, great job as usual. Fun weekend. St. Louis, great racetrack, great racing. Okay. Where are you going this weekend? Since I know you don't have any weekends off ever. What track? Where are you going, Alan Reinhart?
I am going to Virginia Motorsports Park for the Division I race. I will be blasting down to Richmond Thursday morning, and then I'm going to hang out down in that part of the world for a couple of days and just stay there instead of flying back and forth to go to Columbus. But, I think you left out what was the biggest, most newsworthy, life-changing event of the whole weekend.
Oh, what is it? There's a couple that are popping up. They're flashing in my mind. What is it? Your computer? Your computer.
Yeah.
The death.
Computer.
Did you want to do a ceremony or something? Like now would be the time where we could say goodbye in a respectful way to probably your longest running laptop, your road laptop that lasted 4 years.
Let's put that on hold because, like back in the old days when they used to put a bell on the top of the coffin just in case the guy woke up.
Yes.
My laptop is going to a forensic specialist to see if nothing else, if I can recover the stuff that was on it when it decided that it didn't want to be a laptop anymore. It wanted to be a doorstop. So it may catch another breath before it's completely gone. If not, though, I have been divining because people who know me know that I get very frustrated with computers. And I have a machine shop, and so when computers give up, and actually one time before it actually gave up, I have been known to take up my frustrations with my machines. So I'm divining a way that I can chuck it into the lathe. And that might be the end of this one. Because, they say, you shouldn't throw one away, right, without destroying whatever the hard drive or the
Absolutely.
RAM or the something because it's got all your personal information on it.
Of course.
So, I have come up with mechanically gruesome ways to make sure that nobody is able to find something on my computers after I'm done with them. And if I can figure out a way to put it in a lathe, that's going to be epic.
And it will end up on your Twitter account, of course, at NHRA Reinhart, right?
Very possible. Very possible.
Good. Another reason to follow Reinhart if you haven't already. And, Mr. Computer, you did a great job for Alan. We know Alan is a tough guy to work with, but you did a great job for him, and you supplied a lot of great information for 4 years, and now you may rest. And if you wake up, that's great.
And thank you to PC Richard for my new one was waiting for me at home when I got here, and I'm getting it loaded up and ready to go.
There you go. Alan, great job. It was a lot of fun. And they got you, right? Will Tharp was so proud of himself that they got you the kid's computer. They were wondering, they were like, how's he going to react? How's he going to react? I'm like, listen, Alan is going to love it. What do you mean? He's okay with being on the receiving end of chop busting, and that's exactly what this is. So I thought that was a pretty funny moment.
Yeah, I believe that computer is going to end up at the draw auction.
Ah, wow.
So, hopefully, somebody's little kid will enjoy it. Either that or I'll put it in a lathe too. I don't know. Maybe I can. Nah, I can't put it in a lathe. I can't put a little kid computer in a lathe. You
can do whatever you want, Alan. If it makes for great entertainment, it counts. All right. Good job. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right, Joe. Enjoy your week off, and I'll see you in Charlotte.
Thanks, Alan. There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. Click subscribe, never miss a show. We're going to be rolling out Billy Torrance and Sean Langdon, Erica, and Karen. Going to all be on the show. I would really like to try to connect with Corey Mack. I'll probably end up doing that next week as we get ready for Charlotte. But it is the NHRA Countdown, and there's all kinds of great stuff. And, of course, our sponsor, samtech.edu. RoadAxeCoffeeandGrills.com, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, MagicDryUS.com, Total Seal Piston Rings, TotalSeal.com, Drag Racing Edge, and EV3 Drag Racing, all hooking it up and supporting WFO Radio. So when you need something that's in their wheelhouse, we encourage you to check them out, because not only do they support WFO Radio, but they make great products. And I like to think that anybody that is allowed to advertise on WFO crosses a threshold of a great product. Also, saw a lot of people with their WFO Radio t-shirts out there in St. Louis. Bo Butner, that's his Saturday shirt, baby. Bo Butner always wears that shirt on Saturday. It's pretty great. I wear it every Saturday. It's WFO shirt day. And you can get yours at nitrofishracing.com or at the Nitrofish trailer out there on the Midway. They were blowing them out in Maple Grove. That was kind of cool. I did not get to get an update out there in St. Louis. It was a great event. I will spend time talking about all the fun that was had over the course of the week. And then on the Ignition show, of course, you'll get all the details whenever that rolls out. Bottom line, stay connected to the feed. More WFO, NHRA Nitro on its way.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio. Oh, yeah.
Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to frankhawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for Super Comp, Super Gas, all the way up to Top Alcohol. They can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com, the Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO. Hey, engine builders, Total Seal Piston Rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com. You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to magicdryus.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. magicdryus.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's magicdryus.com.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
This is WFO Radio.